Peace and blessings, and welcome back to the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast, where we introduce you to your future favorite artists today. And today, we are the 30 for 30 for independent music and independent artists, meaning we bring you the best MCs that you have yet to hear and their stories. So before we get into this classic interview, what I need you to do is hit the like, subscribe buttons, and the notification bell if you're watching this on YouTube. But if you're streaming this on all DSPs, give us a 5-star review and make sure you subscribe and follow us, because we only do classics on Heritage Hip Hop. And today I have two artists that demonstrate powerful vocal impact. Some people like boxers that brawl. Some people like boxers that punch. At the end, whenever they hit you, you're going to be messed up by what you've experienced. Please, gentlemen, introduce yourselves to the people.
Peace, I'm Ethemadassassin.
Or 7 the Panther, man.
All right.
We comprise Carter and Newton.
And we're going to talk about all of that. Because when I project, salute to I Still Love Her blog. You know what I'm saying? I got that project through there and I posted it on heritagehiphop.com. And I can't say I was blown away at first. I had to catch up to it. Because both of y'all deliveries, you can't take in one listen. And if you really love music, you have to listen more than once. Let me ask y'all a question. How do you define your style and your delivery? 7, you go first.
Man, my style, man, is an amalgamation of every person who I ever thought was a formidable MC that I needed to pay attention to, and then my own special sauce mixed up in with that. So like you hear a little Rakim, you hear a little Nas, you hear a little Method Man, you hear, all of my favorite rappers. If you pay enough attention, you can hear an element of them when I rap. You know what I'm saying? But I've taken that, shook it up in a bottle, poured it in a bowl, and put my own sauce on it. And then so this when you got 7 the Panther, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, for sure. I studied the greats, man.
What about you?
It's kind of like what 7 said, but just a little different twist on it. Me, it's an amount of all of the artists who performs me, but the result is what I feel it would take for me to compete on a record with them.
Word. Okay. I respect that. Because when I listen to y'all, I get a mix of D-Block with a mix of street knowledge. Ice Cube in the early 90s, the storytelling dude who told you the real, you know what I'm saying? And that's what drew me into the project, because an MC is nice no matter what region he's in. But if he could blend into every region, that's an MC. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I got from listening to the project. And before we dissect each and every one of y'all styles and everything, I want to say y'all congratulations, because y'all have made the 6 months or the half year for Heritage Hip Hop album nominations. So Carter and Newton is up there as something that's Heritage Hip Hop certified that we've been wanting people to really listen to and really catch on to. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Man, appreciate that.
Just let me say real quick before we go farther, man, it's good to see you, dog. It's been a minute. It's good to see your face, bro.
Fucking Panther, don't answer the phone no more and shit. Busy ass.
Man, my bad, bro. I meant to call you the other night, but then I got a call and I had to run, so I was like, oh, man.
Hey, busy ass nigga, you know what I mean? Motherfucker just all over the place, got all these jobs saved in the world, you know?
All right, hey. It's one that we need one everywhere. Salute to you, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Dope. Ask him about it. Wait.
Hey, Sev, I want to ask you a serious question.
All right.
When it comes to MCs and delivery, beats mean what to you?
Beats ain't nothing but a punching bag to me, dog. Like that's something that me and E had to I don't mind telling nobody, even though I'm a veteran MC, I've learned a lot just doing this one project with E, just for the concept of how I deal with the beat, because I've always been a MC to say, let me hop on the track and beat it to death. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But over time, I'm learning, like sometimes it takes not necessarily trying to kill the beat as much as it means, trying to make the best record possible. I've always been one to flow to the beat, but my objective was always to tear the face off of it. But now it's like, maybe not, depending on if that's what's needed on that particular record. So, yeah.
Doing history on you, I've seen that or I've heard that sometimes you overpower the beat. So as your beats elevated as your career went on, it brought out the best of how your words come off rather than how you say the words. One of my favorite.
I definitely had a Nas phase where people was questioning my ability to select beats because I went through such a long time where I didn't have people to make beats for me specifically that I just had to rap to whatever I could get my hands on. So, yeah, I can agree with that.
Go ahead, E. Sure. What you about to say, E?
Nah, I'm with him on that because I run into the same thing, man. I got a lot of friends that's been knowing me forever, like along my hip hop journey and everything. And like now I got a lot of cats saying to me like, yo, man, like you finally got beats that could catch up to what you saying. And then after that would be, yeah, because I know you was trying to pick beats that would let your lyrics stand out. I'm like, bro, like that's not the case. Like, you know, if I want to make music, I got to make music with what's available.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like I can't just, oh yeah, like I love RZA. Let me go call RZA and get a beat. How am I going to do that? You know what I mean? Like back in those days, you know what I mean? You're going to get the closest thing around you, either whether you can afford it or, you know, however you work it out. You know what I mean? You're gonna use whatever you got as your backdrop. You know what I mean? So a lot of people had that twisted. So like, so I feel something on that. Like it wasn't even about like how he called it a Nas phase. It's just like, bro, this is what I got. This is what I could get.
Yeah, because I mean, I want to just talk about a standout track. Panther Politics 2.0, right? Go ahead, talk about why you do that. What would that
That's
mean?
one of my favorite joints, man. That's one of my favorite records I ever made, honestly. Like,
Panther Politics was you really punching. You was punching. But the beat didn't give you feedback, right?
Right.
But then when I heard the song Why Now, I'm like, oh, that's what he's trying to do.
Yeah, Why Now was like the perfect, to me, Why Now was like the perfect marriage of my style and like just the production that I've kind of grown into to realizing that I really, really love. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a certain sound that I really love, but hey, what's up, man? It's a certain sound I really love, but like when it's all said and done, sometimes that sound isn't necessarily put together properly by the producer. You can tell, right? Like Why Now was a perfect example of it being right. You know what I'm saying? I fell right into that beat like it was a swimming pool, and I was like, oh, breaststroke, let's get it popping. You know what I'm saying?
You was in it. Hey, E, you know what's funny about that? I didn't get the same from you. You were more like a ninja on the beat because it seems like you set the beat up perfectly for the punchline that you're dropping. One of my favorite songs you did was Try So Hard.
Oh, shit.
I went to Try So Hard and I was like, do you hear how he rapping? You hear how he's putting the words together, but if you hear how the word hits the beat, he's a setup man. You're a martial artist when it comes to your words. When you write, are you setting people up for the punch or you're setting their ears up for the delivery to get stuck?
Honestly, man, I think that's really just how I talk. You know, like I'm kind of an explainer. Like when I speak, I kind of tell stories. So like damn near everything that I say has some kind of analogy or an example behind it. So it's just how I talk. It's almost like if a comedian is setting things up for the punchline, but the punchline is just really just the fact or the truth of what I'm trying to get out. So like that's what it is when I rhyme. You know what I mean? But even still, like what you're saying so far as like beats setting up everything, like I don't necessarily want to just hit you dead in the face with it. Like sometimes I want to take you on a journey. Sometimes I want to get to the point. So it's a mix in between.
Word.
You know, but one thing I'm very aware of is that the beat has its own character.
Yeah.
So I'm collaborating with the beat. The beat's collaborating with me, but what I try to do, and not that everybody doesn't do it, but I notice it's not on the forefront of a lot of people's minds, is I want the stem so I can play with the beat. I want to arrange the beat around what I'm saying.
I caught that.
You know what I mean? Like, so that's how that stuff stand out. Cause I'm like, oh yeah, like drop this out, do that. Like I'm very instrumental and like, yeah, let's build the beat up. Let's take this out, drop these drums, drop the sample, keep that in there. I do that type of thing.
That's interesting. Cause when I think about y'all two, if I had to relate y'all to basketball players, E, you Jason Kidd, 7, you Gary Payton. Uh-oh, what that face mean? Uh-oh, tell me, what that mean?
I can't even be mad at that, but
No,
I got somebody coming in. So, hey, welcome in. Hey, but I'm gonna need you to break it down for me. I'm gonna need you to break that one down.
The breakdown? What you was about to say? I'll break it down. What you about to say?
No, I kind of agree with that because actually, like coming up, Kid was like my favorite point guard, and I wanted to be him. So like that's kind of
all right. So
step two.
Let me break it down. You would be Jason Kidd because of the setup, like you just said. If you're playing with stems and setting up beats, you're orchestrating how your voice and the beat's gonna drop so people can catch the lyric, feel the beat.
Right.
The essence of a point guard is putting people in position so the play actually works.
Right.
Sev, you are the defensive glove, which means that when people try to get around you, you're holding them in place by what you're saying. So then when you put that lob up there, people are like, oh, I got it.
Right.
You know what's funny about
the crowd gets it. Go ahead.
The funniest thing about you saying that is I have the hardest time in the world when people actually catch it. That's the problem. Like he'll tell you, I get salty sometimes because I be like, dog, I don't know how they did that. I felt it was super simple. I really thought they were going to get that and they didn't get it. But and I care so much about what I say that when I feel like people didn't get it, it drives me absolutely up the wall. I'm not gonna lie, it's fucking crazy.
All right, well, everybody, this is Carell on Heritage Hip Hop Podcast with Ethemadassassin and Seven the Panther. As you see, not only do these MCs set their words up, now we got to get into who they are. Do you know who the Mad Assassin is?
Wow. Yeah. Actually, the Mad Assassin is more of an assassin than Mad. Mad is really just about an appearance. The assassin is really just quick darts. You know what I'm saying? Like very, very focused, to the point. You know, an assassin is one bullet and he's out. You don't know who he is. The only difference is I'm in hip hop, so I gotta show you who I am. But the whole focus is the same thing: one shot, kill, get out.
In history, the Mad Assassin was a king. Did you know that? Okay, so let's have a history lesson, ladies and gentlemen.
Please, yo, because I know the origin of the word assassin, but
talk about it. What's the origin of the word assassin?
The Hassans, the Mongol tribes. You know what I'm saying? They came out of the mountains. They would get high and come murder people for money.
Okay, who was their king?
I do not know who their king was.
So you said the Mongols, right?
Yeah.
Who's the one Mongol that we all know? Genghis. At the end of the day, Genghis was a
Mad Assassin.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for that bill.
All right. So if you know the history of Genghis Khan, Genghis Khan not only influenced the world with taking over through a tribe, he also implanted the world. He fertilized the world with a legacy of not only rawness, he also gave the world a legacy of the 48 laws of power. He also gave the land a story of principle and how to stand strong in your spot. On a track, Ethemadassassin not only stands strong in his spot, he always sets you up for the next line. What is more important to you, for the line to hit hard or the setup so a person can be ready for the delivery?
For the line to hit hard.
Why?
You know, at the end of it, like a punchline is called the punchline for that. You know what I mean? You need it to hit. And that's really it. But at the same time, like, you know, like I want you to watch the setup. You know, watch the setup, get into it. So when you see this punchline, then it's like, oh shit, okay. You know, because like even like with Seven Cell, like I really care about, like I want people to catch what I'm saying. I want them to hear it. And now the one thing is, I don't think I do a lot of simple things. I do a lot of subtle things. You know, so I'm aware that some people may not catch it. So it's like how you said, you had to go back and listen. I'm aware of that and I'm cool with that. But just as long as you can sit back over time and like, you know what, hold it, that was a sweet setup for that left cross. That's where I'm at with it.
AKA, that's why they call him bare hands. We'll get into that in a minute. I said, welcome to Heritage Hip Hop, where we go in. You know what I'm saying?
Word. I'm like in this interview already.
So Sev.
Yo, like this is the shit.
So Sev, check this out. What is a panther?
A panther is, well, you know, some people would say it's a big cat. Well, I mean, yeah, it's a big cat, but My name is not Seven the Panther because I like cats. My name is Seven the Panther because my father was a Black Panther. So that that was part of what categorizes my whole style, I guess, actually. But generally, a panther is not an animal that attacks unprovoked. You would have to back him into a corner and have it in a situation where you feel like there's no way out before it will come forward to wipe you out. I'm saying win a lot of cases. You know what I'm saying? Like I get called too humble by a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? So we've been in some arenas where there was the cats around, they was rapping, they was on their thing, and they was like, yo, Sal, hop in this place. And I'm like, I'm chilling, man. They're like, yo, man, you way too humble. Like, you'll burn all, get in there. And I'm like, nah, I'm chilling, man. But the whole thing for me is if you ain't pressing me, I don't really see no point in you taking your face off. I'm gonna let you have your moment. Go ahead and do your thing, because if you press me, then we gonna see what it is. But I mean, yeah, for me, a panther is very reminiscent not only of myself, but of Black people as a total, because we have been the most forgiving, the most accepting, you know what I'm saying, until we back into a corner. And then it's kind of like, you know, certain ones just raw and set it off. You know what I mean? And if we did that as a collective, we wouldn't be in the condition we're in right now. But we won't. But more often than not, you know, the people who know, who really about that life, back them in the corner doing that.
Well, check this out. Let's sprinkle a little bit of wisdom on what you said. Did you know the history of a panther is a majestic animal that is never seen, only felt?
Thanks.
So if 7 is the number of completion, which is the God degree, that's a majestic cat that hovers over reality, mentality, and science and mathematics. So at the end of the day, your humility is a God-given trait, but just like God, whether you're on his good or his bad, he commits justice for every deed. Is that why your vocals focus on the body, the mind, and the outcome of principle? Talk about it.
I think I'll write rhymes, and I say this all the time. Like when I write, I'll write from the concept of the very beginning of the song is just the seed. You know what I'm saying? The first line is just the seed. Like, it's very important. The seed is super important to the final outcome, but it's just the seed. You know what I'm saying? By the time I get to the end of the verse, if I'm gonna spend one verse, I'm gonna spend 2 verses, or, you know, God forbid, in 2022, I'm gonna spend 3 verses. When I get to the end of the last verse, the purpose of that seed in the first line should be apparent. And if it's not, then I didn't do my job. I feel like, you know, the first verse, okay, so when I write 3 verse songs, it is really mind, body, and spirit, because the first verse is the mind. This is what I'm thinking. And the reason I'm thinking this is because there's a reason that's causing my mind to operate in this manner. The second verse will be the body. Okay, this is my reaction, my response to what I'm feeling. And the third verse would be the spirit, because now that I've felt that and I've responded to it, now what does that lead me to? And what do I carry from that experience into the next thing that I'm about to do? And I write a lot of songs like that, and most people don't even recognize it, that I write it that way. But I do it that way for a reason, because that's how I learned to read. That's how I learned to assess people and situations. So I write the same way.
All right, so I'm gonna reverse it and go back to you and then go to E.
Pardon me, real quick. Karev, I need to hire you for something.
Okay, no problem.
Just remind me to tell you that when we get off this interview. I need to hire you for something.
No doubt, because I got something for both of y'all too. And we're gonna talk about the end. So everybody, make sure y'all pay attention to the interview. Make sure you not only do you stream 7 the Panther, Ethemadassassin's music, go buy it. Because guess what? I purchased mine. And if you don't got it, y'all playlists are soft. But we're gonna go back to it. 7, based off of what you said, now I gotta ask you a different question based off of your setup delivery. One of my favorite songs that you did is Marlo, Make 'Em Pay. Off one of the, I mean, it could be borderline classic. I mean, it depends on what you think, ladies and gentlemen. His album, HIA, which is Here I Am. I want to ask you this. Marlo, Make 'Em Pay was a basic, it felt like a story rhyme with like a neck grab, because it was a pulse grabbing narrative where the rhyme had to set up the end, but if you listen to the end, the beginning was already there. You see what I'm saying? Tell me about Marlo, Make 'Em Pay, and where that song was going.
I mean, anybody that know me know I am huge Wire fan. I mean, if you can tell by the album cover in the background, my next project, Shooting Stars 2, coming out, I'm doing the Omar Little. You know what I'm saying? The first Stars, I had the Omar skits. I'm a huge Wire fan. But I'm as much of a fan of Omar as I am. He's my favorite character in The Wire. My second favorite character was Marlo. Because Marlo was borderline, well, not borderline, he's a psychopath in a lot of ways. But he was a representation of what we can become in those, those societal situations when we don't have a strong male role model to show us what to do, or maybe our mom don't really know what to do with a young man. So the song Marlo Make 'Em Pay is a I started the song off after hella time writing hella rhymes. I deserve mine. You know what I'm saying? And see, so Marlo is like me saying, hey, I know, this is like album number 13 for me. So I know I've been at this for a minute, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like despite whatever anybody else around me may say, despite the fact that I never sold a ton of records, I'm not on world tours all the time, I deserve mine. And I'm saying, and I said I'm about to flip it. It wouldn't be the first time. Anybody that know me know why I said that. My track record out here in the street is official. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I'm not trying to live off of that. What I live off of is what I give to people. So Marlo Make 'Em Pay was a combination of me making the people who have wronged me in this industry pay for ignoring me, but at the same time providing life, you know what I'm saying, to people who have been supportive of me at the same time. So when I said, since my genesis, I've been gifted with recklessness, lead the wicked to their exodus. They said only the strong survive. Made me wonder what's taking some of you so long to die. Couldn't fight your way out of bag with holes in it. A shock that you can't see that you a fiend with no limit. You know what I'm saying? Like that whole scheme right there is retarded. But like the average person don't get what it means when I say it. So like that's why I end up going back. And a lot of times if you pay attention to a song, like in the third verse, maybe the first 8 bars is one thing, but the last 8 bars is just a reiteration of the first 8 bars. I just say it different, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of times that's to make sure that doesn't have to hit home. So I mean, I don't know. I be feeling like people miss a lot, man. So that's why I sometimes feel like I try too hard when I write. Like I feel like I'm riddling people when I shouldn't be.
Well, keep that idea because we're going to come back to that because I got to get to E out of respect. E, his delivery is neck grabbing. Your delivery is gut punching. I'm gonna let you pick the song you want to talk about. I'm gonna go a different route. I'm gonna go a different route with you. Gratitude, okay. 80s and 90s, or Elements? Where you want to go on that one?
80s and 90s. 80s and 90s.
Let's talk about that one. 80s and 90s is the two eras that captivate what hip hop is today and where hip hop came from. Because the 70s into the 80s was we need to be heard. The 80s into the 90s is damn it, we're here. And when we look back, we have a very cloudy image of what the 80s was and what the 90s was. But in both, they were raw, they were real, and they were truthful. And the rawness is what you brought in that song. What made that song stand out to you?
What made it stand out to me was just really, I was kind of trying to give my background so far as like how I looked at hip hop. Mm-hmm. Everything that I mentioned, especially like in that third verse, those elements or pieces that stood out in the 80s and the 90s for me that helped create the kind of artist that me and Seven are. You know, help create the kind of audience that appreciates what we do. You know, I mean, honestly, that's it in a nutshell. You know what I mean? Like, again, like I make a very street-based, street-oriented music. So I don't veer too far beyond that. But the 80s and the 90s was so pivotal in us becoming Black men and how hip hop developed as a whole and what you hear now, like even to, you know, the current drill scene and all of that. All of that's based on how the 80s and the 90s started. You know what I'm saying?
Facts. So, I mean, I pick up a lot from your style because even Hannibal's Men was a song that I was like, whoa, like, you know what bugged me out about y'all too? I first thought both y'all from the West Coast for real. Like that was just West Coast bread. And then when I first heard y'all together, I'm like, this is what I thought an early Razzcast and Exhibit group album would have been. You know what I'm saying? For real. Seven. What that mean, man? What that face mean? Talk to me.
I like that, man. I'm a big fan of both of them.
Yo, me too. Yo, Raz is one of my favorite MCs ever, period. Ever. And salute to Raz because he was on Heritage Hip Hop Exhibit on Waiting For You. You know what I mean? So when I hear y'all work together, it gives the refreshing style of this is what hip hop could be if we actually gave a fuck about it. Let me ask you this question, E. Let's start with you. Why do you think hip hop's voice is big, but yet shallow at the same time? So the message is not really heard. It can only be lived if you understand it.
Okay, it's big. It's big because we're loud about it. You know, and when I say loud, I mean like, you know, for the cliche 400 years, like we were kept silent. You know, so now that we finally have our own genre of music that was strictly from us, about us, it was for us and by us, and we spoke to each other. You know, that we had stuff to get off our chest, so we said it loud. You know, it was abrasive, it was brand new. So like the people who aren't of our culture, they saw it, they were taken aback from it. You know what I mean? So, but it's shallow at the same time because it's youth based. You know what I mean? And the youth, I mean, it just is what it is. Like, you know, like what's the saying about youth? Some like
knowledge is wasted on the young.
Bingo. There it is. There it is. That's it. That's it. You know what I mean? Like they don't have the experience yet to talk about broader things. You know, to have a broader understanding. So everything they're bringing to the table is gonna be shallow. It can come from deep situations, you know, but it's still gonna be a shallow thing because you're listening to the mind of a 17-year-old. In these days, you know, like the days that me and Seven come from, being 17, like, you know, it was cool to be smart. It was cool to know shit. It was cool to speak about knowledge, wisdom, and understanding and know where you came from, or have an idea of where you came from, or even if you didn't know, have an idea of what these people were doing to you. You know, that's kind of diverted a little bit, you know, but it's a lot more shallow now because of that. You know what I mean? Like even then though, like, you know, we had the idea, but we didn't know exactly yet. Like we had to really get out here into the world to see it, you know? So actually I feel like a lot of the cats at those ages, like the Nas's and the Ice Cubes, when they first dropped, they spoke about things that they knew about directly. Unfortunately, it appeared deeper than it really is because these were actually just conditions that's been going on since forever. They just spoke about it.
That's a fact. I'll rock with you on that because the Knowledge of Black Excellence, or KOBE, talks about such things. He's smiling. I know he's feeling the question already. It talks about such things, and Black Excellence has people tripping out nowadays because Black excellence for some people has been a Gucci bag or a pair of sneakers that look like they're in spaceships, or something that's very empty. You know what I'm saying? And Black excellence has always been characterized as the morality that we have. To the point of your answer, remember, they keep hip hop a young man's game because they're easy to be taken advantage of. But when you become a man of age and excellence, Black excellence, the knowledge of Black excellence, by the way, you know there's the certain things that you can't go for. That's why I like your song 80s and 90s, because if you notice, it's the 90s MCs that's keeping hip hop alive. Because we had I don't give a F attitude in the 90s, and look, we still out there touring.
Right.
So Seb, let me ask you this. Knowing that the knowledge of Black excellence is the definition of our style, how do you define hip hop and what makes you hip hop?
It's crazy that you asked me that because I literally just a little while ago today joined this group on Facebook, and they asked, that was the question they asked me, what do you consider hip hop? How would you define hip hop? And I said that hip hop is an amalgamation of all of the elements that we as Black people that didn't have any in the 70s utilized to give ourselves some degree of calm, to find some degree of unity, and let it not have to be a violent outcome. Those things grew over time and expanded into what we know them to be, as far as DJing, MCing, you know, graffiti writers, breakdancers. Let's not forget about the fashion aspect and the media aspect. All of these other things are also hip hop because they grew out of the culture. They came out of the park. You know what I'm saying? So as far as me being hip hop, I'm hip hop because those same projects and the same parks that birthed the culture birthed me too. And I utilized one of the many lanes created by that culture to find my way out of it and to find a better way to express myself to the world, as opposed to screaming, throwing bricks, or you know, randomly shooting people. I chose to spit rhymes. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it could easily have went the other way. You know what I mean? If I wasn't dedicated to trying to do something better with my life, and only by seeing people like Run DMC and people like the Cold Crush Brothers, and then Fresh Prince and Jazzy Jeff, and then all these other cats that came prior as I'm growing up watching this happen, I'm like, dang, if they did that, I can do the same thing. I don't have to go that way, because it was a gang of people from my neighborhood that went the other way. You know what I mean? So I think that in and of itself, you don't become hip hop because you're a rapper. You are executing an element of hip hop because you're a rapper. But the way that you live, the way that you utilize that gift to touch the people around you and to influence the lives of the people around you, that can and will define just how hip hop you are at the end of the day. Because hip hop is a culture. It's not just music. It's not just what you're wearing. It's a culture. So when you say that, people say, "Oh, it's not a culture because the beats get samples from this place and that place." I say, okay, well, do you realize that digging for records and finding samples is a culture in and of itself? See, people have a misunderstanding of what culture means, which is why they can't understand that culture and freedom are connected for a reason. Once you find your culture, that brings you to the bridge of your freedom. We ain't gonna get into all that right now, but like, yeah, so that's why I love hip hop, you know what I mean? Huh?
I said, speak on it, God.
True indeed. True indeed. You know, you already know, man. Like I love hip hop because hip hop gave us something, like you said, it's something of our own, man. Like it wasn't like I had to go find somebody that don't look like me to teach me about this thing. I didn't have to go outside of my neighborhood to learn about this thing. I didn't have to learn about it in school. I learned about it from the OGs in my neighborhood. I learned about it from 50 Grand and Keith Murray and K Solo and all the other old heads in CI that was like, yo, da, 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 da. You know what I'm saying? And then even moving to Brooklyn and moving to North Carolina and moving like everywhere I've been, there was somebody older than me who was like, yo, you want to rap, shorty? All right, let me show you this. You know what I'm saying? And that thing connected us. Like we got a lifetime bond. You understand what I'm saying? Me and E didn't grow up together.
But we're gonna get to that. Wait. We gonna get to that in a minute. Don't go too far. Don't go too far. I want to ask E that too. What is hip hop and what makes you hip hop?
I really can't go too much deeper than 7 did. To me, hip hop is our culture, and I mean ours. You know, and to me, it's based on our expression. Like no matter what the expression is, be it fashion, be it visible art on walls, however you put it up there, be it stolen paint cans or markers, or even with an ink pen, or you just scratching some shit into the wall with a knife. You know, be it rhyming, be it DJing, be it dancing. You know, the way we speak, the way we talk to each other, the way we stand, the information that we base our principles on. All of that shit is hip hop to me. You know what I mean? And to me, I'm hip hop because that's what raised me. You know, like kind of like how 7 said, like it took me moving around and seeing shit at a young age and just seeing like different parts of hip hop being exposed to me, and I'm like, yo, I just want to do that. Like, you know what I mean? I just wanted to be a part of it. Like I didn't know what I wanted to do yet. I just wanted to be a part of it. So like, you know, when you first started seeing it at the age I saw that, you know, it's like, oh shit, I'm gonna spin on my head. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to spin on my head. I want to wear those pants and I want to do that windmill looking shit. You know, that type of thing. So it goes from there. And then it's, oh shit, y'all drawing on walls? Let me go draw on a wall, you know? Then I realized I can't draw a straight line. So I was like, okay, this doesn't work for me. Let me try something else. You know what I'm saying? But all of it's the same thing. Like, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, even down to cooking, all of that shit is expression through hip hop, man. You know? It's all Black culture.
Check this out. What was the first line in hip hop that was ever spoken?
First line in hip hop ever spoken. That's a good question.
Why I want to say Cab Calloway said it. He was an MC though. But go ahead though.
Yeah, what you got?
You know, I don't got nothing. Cab Calloway is actually who I was thinking about. So I was like, what's something Cab Calloway?
The first line ever said in hip hop was "Let there be light." So there was creation.
Wow.
Think about this.
It
said God's breath moved across the water. So when you use your breath, your vocal manifestations of the Most High's power. Let me continue, gentlemen. The first commandment in the Bible was be fruitful and multiply. It said, go out, populate the earth, but re-subdue the earth. So the first commandment was to have God's commandments, have children, but take the world over, not give it away. So if that is our Black culture, then we are God's people. And if our culture is hip hop, then God's heritage is hip hop. Y'all like that? We're on the line with Seven the Panther, Ethemadassassin. And
I wanted to hire you, like, bro, yeah. I mean, look, I'm pretty sure Seven agrees with me already, and I haven't even said it. Because we all talking about doing a redo. I would love for you to write something for it.
No doubt.
Okay, let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? But we're going. That's too much for this crowd. We gotta let them wait for that. How did y'all meet? How did y'all get together to put a project together? You know, that is an interesting thing that you brought up about y'all not being with each other, around each other, and how y'all meet, how y'all met. Please indulge.
Okay. At this juncture, it's what, 2022. We know each other. How long? Almost. Well, we known each other for a long time. So
long.
I mean, okay. So he always tell it. I be trying not to say it. I just be like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? We know a lot of the same people that he was like, nah, they just tell them. We met battle. We was battling each other. It was this radio station, and I think it was Power 97. Right? It wasn't one of those bands at that time. 97 was running shit in hip hop. So like, 97 had this hip hop battle, and we was at this club, man, and it was like the finals or whatever. And so we was out there. It was me, he, it was like a few other cats that was in it, but like we was really the two guys, you know what I'm saying? So it came down to me and him, and it was like a tie. So they had like a tiebreaker, and the tiebreaker was, crowd, the crowd cheering. It just so happened I might have had like 2 or 3 more people in the crowd than he did. So,
Yeah.
So I won, but I'm just like, it was interesting. So but we've been cool ever since then. Like it was just never been we was battling because we MCs, not because we had an issue with each other. So we've been cool ever since.
Right. That's basically it. So so the other part of that question, like how did we get together to make this album? Correct.
Yes.
Yo, so the next part of that question was how did we get together to make this album?
Yes.
Right. So honestly, like it just throughout the years, Seven and I have we all both living in North Carolina in the areas we lived in. We have mutual friends who are artists and producers. And there was a producer by the name of Devron Benjamin who kind of kept us, really put us in touch with each other.
Okay.
Even though we still just, how like 6 degrees of separation is? We kind of moved into 6 degrees, but our degree just never linked personally on the spot in NC for some music, which is crazy. Because I move out here to LA. Seven moves to Tacoma shortly after that. The next thing you know, we kind of get on the phone and we just thought, I can't even remember why the fuck we got on the phone, but we just started building. And it was
I came down there when I first moved out here. I came down there when I was on that tour with Raz and Macklemore.
Right, that's right. That's
when we linked up, yeah.
Right. So, but it was just a kinship based on the fact of who we knew, what we're doing, and our respect for each other as MCs and the skill level, and us both being West Coast transplants now. And trying to navigate that, and navigating the different mentalities, the differences in mentalities from East to West.
Boy. I'm still working on that one.
I feel that.
Yeah. So we just got close over over that time, and then pretty soon he hits me and he hit me a couple of times about, like getting on the track here and there, and like either I would say I didn't like the track, or I be having a lot of shit going on, man. So like I need to be reminded of things and I will forget. So may have forgot, but he just calling me one day. He's like, hey man, I got this beat from Drugs. I'm like, oh shit. He sends me the beat. I'm like, boom, let's go. So we wrote the song, and then after that, I'm like, man, fuck it. We may as well just go ahead and see what the album sounds like. Let's just find a producer. It was like that simple.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind, gentlemen, because I have something to propose to you later.
Bye.
Carter and Newton, the field report, is a dedication to CNN. By the way, the album cover looks.
Not really.
The album cover looks like CNN's first album, saying.
Yeah, for sure.
And when I first saw that, I was like, "Ooh, that's what got my attention from the door." Because when you see something that takes you back, you want to relive that energy to see if that energy was there. And I ain't gonna lie, the intro, "What Makes Wolves," set that album off. That was one of the greatest intros in the independent music scene I've heard in a long time, because it sets the mind up for like, this is gonna be a gritty gutter thing. You know what I'm saying? What makes a wolf? Money, you know what I'm saying? We're talking about hunger. So I'm gonna ask y'all one of my trick questions. Y'all both can answer it. Seven, I'll start with you. What's more powerful in hip hop? The hunger for more or the desire for more?
Okay. I see where you at. You're a tricky guy. I like that. Okay, so let me see if I can think of the best way to put this. Okay, so you said which one is more powerful, the desire or the hunger? Okay, so if I have to say, I'd have to say the hunger is more powerful. I'd say the hunger is more powerful because technically a desire is simply a strong want for something. A strong want for something, but if you're denied that thing that you strongly want, it's not going to destroy you. If you have a hunger for something and you don't get it, you could very well die. Hunger is something that only occurs in the human body when you're missing something. When it's something that your body needs that it's not received. A desire is simply something that you want. So yeah.
Oh, wait, stop right there. E, what you got?
What he said.
So then when I listen to this song, Hunger Pains, right? We're really going into the narrative of what? The MC telling the story of how he moves when he's hungry, or the power of hunger and how a person moves off the pain. E, what you think? What you say?
It's both for me, you know. To me, they go. So like how Seven said, like with the hunger, like the pain behind the hunger is you got to feed yourself. Like he said, something that your body's missing. That's why it's signaling hunger. Whether it be you're missing like food nutrients, or if you're dehydrated or whatever, it's a signal telling you to go get it. You know, and to me, it's the same thing, just living every day, day to day. Like, you know, there's things that you need and there's signals that's telling you to go get it. Now, some people are willing to go to further extents and lengths than others are, you know, to get what they feel they need, you know what I'm saying, to nourish themselves. So like, to me, all of that is hand in hand.
I rock with that, because when it comes to this project, right, the names already bug me out. We got Graham Newton. Who's Carter?
I'm Carter. Yeah, I'm Carter.
All right, Carter and Graham Newton. Shout out to the Bare Hands Project, y'all. 1 through 5. Make sure y'all go check them out. One of my favorite. See, when I got the blog to put up, Push the Line was the video I posted on the website. Oh yeah. Push the Line got a nice response. It's also featured on Heritage Hip Hop playlist number 10. If y'all missed it, become a member of heritagehiphop.com. I send out the playlist every now and then, but you have to be a member to get the exclusives. Membership is free. That means the buffet table is set. All you gotta do is sit down and eat. We give you the good meal for your ears, all right?
Like that.
What I want to tell you is Push the Line was dope, because the way y'all flow over the organ showed that y'all are tactful and experienced MCs. I think the organ would have tripped a lot of people up, because then with the drill sound, especially, people are used to that constant back and forth. But the organ is like the blues, it's black soul that comes out through keys. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. How did you hit the key of the rhyme and match it with the beat and melody?
I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not that deep of a thing for me, but it's gonna sound weird when I say it. So like about dancing. You know, like I said, the hip hop culture, like, you know, like as a kid, you might start out dancing or whatever. I was big into dancing. So I treat each beat and the way that I rhyme over it, how I would step. Like if I was dancing with a girl, how I would step dancing. So the words just really just match what my footsteps would be. So like I was in the house dancing and everything too, you know what I mean? So like it might be all over the place, but there's gonna be a rhythm, there's gonna be a pattern, but you gotta catch it sometimes, you know what I mean? So like for me, it's not about the kick and the snare, it's just what I hear in the rhythm and how my body would move to it. So that's how I rhyme.
How you rhyme on that song, Sev, you hit on Real Nigga Energy. What did that song mean for you?
Oh man, Real Nigga Energy. Oh man, that's one of my favorite joints too. Like, Real Nigga Energy for me was, if you listen to what we saying in the verses, like most people have a weird concept of what they think a real nigga is. And a lot of times I don't even like to use that terminology because of how screwed up the whole connotation behind it has become. I didn't have a problem with it with that because it was, if you think about what we were saying, you know what I'm saying? It's obvious the block ain't changed. Like a lot of things we talk about on that record are things that people who are, you got to be of a certain ilk, maybe of a certain age to understand where it's coming from. But real niggas, like real niggas will understand the concept of, damn, like they touching on all the elements of what you need to have your eyes open for, what, you know, and giving that energy to the people and doing it. Like, if you think about it, the beat is real laid back. We wasn't screaming on niggas on the record. Like, we was really just talking to them. You know what I mean? And realistically, when somebody can school you like that without it having to be loud, without it having to be extra, you know what I mean, rah-rah, whatever, that's real nigga energy to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't gotta flex on me, just tell me what it is. You know what I mean? Tell me what it is.
It's exactly in your face. Like, real nigga energy embodies a lot of L's.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So like, I think we covered that in that song, you know?
Masterfully. But see, the thing about y'all is, I think more storytelling will show people how dope y'all are. Because the Trying video is a story. Mm-hmm. And the Trying video starts off in the sky, but then it meets on the ground level, and we meet up at the beginning of the album. It seems like when the poster is drawn out. What was the message you were trying to get from that video?
We're coming. Get ready. Like how you said it, like with the reveal of being the album cover at the end, it's just to tell you like, oh shit, it's an album. Like that's really what it was for me. You know, that was my idea behind that. Just to get people ready, man, because like Seven's put out a lot of music by himself and with a group. I put out a lot of music by myself and as a group, you know, so just showing people like, hey man, like this is what we got right here, you know what I mean? Like just kind of walk you through the journey, you know what I mean? Like, okay, you see seven, he's behind his computer, he's plotting, like he's putting a plan together. You see me on the ground trying to put certain things together to help bring my part to what he got going on, and it's like, boom, okay, here we go. You know what I mean? So like that, the next video being Push the Line. Now it's time to push the line now that, you know, this album's coming.
And that made Greatness come next.
Well, Greatness was actually the video. Like that was
right. Even though Greatness came first, like Greatness was kind of like the warning.
Yeah, Greatness was the warning, and the funny thing is it was the first video, but it's the last song on the record, on the album we listened to. So like,
the energy on that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's an energy track.
Yeah, and Trying was the last song we recorded, but that's the first song on the album.
Yeah, so everything kind of went circle with that. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the beauty about life. The end is the beginning, and the beginning is the end. So that's why we have a yin and yang. It's a reason why I said God said I created good and evil, because good and evil are perspective. So if you don't understand one, how can you understand the other? And if you only have one, how can you understand God? Because even in Egyptian text, it tells you righteousness is balance, not over righteous or not evil, balance.
Right.
And the way y'all balance each other off is very ceremonial, because when you listen to real hip hop, it moves your soul and it moves your spirit. That's why we bob our head and we nod to the rhythm, and then we make that face. But then when the lyrics is good, we got hold, and then we stop it.
Right.
So y'all made people pause on hip hop with Carter and Newton, the Field Report. What's next? Is it going to be solo, or is it going to be group endeavors going forward?
I think we both got a solo project ready to fly in April, if I'm not mistaken. I think you driving in April too?
Go ahead and talk about yours. You got the screen and everything. Talk about yours.
So yeah, I'm dropping Shooting Stars 2 in roughly 2.5 weeks. I just finished shooting the first video, getting ready to shoot another video this weekend. So we doing that. But I mean, like, I got a couple of solo projects on deck. But like, realistically speaking, I'll put any one of them on pause and do another card and do it like tomorrow. Like, it ain't that. So it ain't that. Yeah, that's real. So I've been in groups before, you know what I'm saying, and all of that. But like, to me, it don't even feel like a group. It just feel like two cats that understand where they at, understand each other, understand what they're trying to get done, and they just doing it. Like, it don't even feel like a group to me, even though it's two of us rapping together. It don't feel like a group. Like, and to me, that's dope because I think after the last time I was in a group, I kind of was like, man, I'm over this whole group dynamic. It's too codependent, you know what I'm saying? As two soloists came together to do a collaborative project, it's not so codependent, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, I know you know I'm dope. We pick the beat, we write the bars, we do what we gotta do. Let's roll, you know what I'm saying? So it just feels good. So yeah, definitely Shooting Stars 2 up next. It may be another Fallen Angels album coming soon. I don't know, but you know, me and AP still working on it.
Well, for me, I'm about to drop Hands of Stone, my next project. It might be a Bare Hands project. It might not. I'm not too sure. I got to figure some things out because I got a lot of songs that I did. So really, it's gonna come down to how I sequence it, to whether it's gonna be a Bare Hands 6, Hands of Stone, or it's just gonna be Ethemadassassin, Hands of Stone. And the only reason why I'm skeptical about it is because like all my Bare Hands projects have all been produced by one producer. But this work, I got multiple producers. Like I got Stu Bangers, I got Vanderslice, I got Karan Goodman, I got Authentic, I got Drugs, I got J.R. Swift. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still trying to figure out how I want to title that shit, but I'm basically wrapping up all of that music right now. I finished shooting the second video for it Wednesday night. And I got a third video that I'm gonna shoot. Possibly a fourth, who knows? You know what I mean? But that's where I am with that. And so far as the future, I got a project that I'm gonna do with one of the producers I named. I won't say with who yet. I'll tell Seven. I'll tell both of you once we get off this call. But I just can't say it out loud yet. But
all right, that's dope. I mean, look, everybody out there watching, this is Karev at Heritage Hip Hop. Carter and Newton, the Field Report is out right now. I got my copy. I'll buy my music. Let me tell y'all something.
Thank you.
This is a project you need to have. This is Heritage Hip Hop certified. This project, and we do an award show August every year. I do it because I'm a school teacher, so it has to match my schedule. If I did, nice. I do it in December. But I have my own schedule, and every 6 months we highlight some of the best projects that's come out. Either we put out a video, I tagged y'all in it. If y'all didn't see it, I don't know. But this project has been nominated for consideration for it was 6 months, but this is nominated for the consideration for the Heritage Hip Hop Award for Group or Duo for 2022. So make sure y'all tune in to August to see if they win. Can't say they do, because it's not me that picks. It's a council of people. So make sure you check out the album. If you like it, buy it, because we don't believe in streaming, because that's going to the bank and letting people tell you how much music you can have. Own your music, because if the internet ever goes down, you don't have your albums. Y'all agree?
That's a fact. That's a fact. That's a definite fact. If they ever turn the internet off, we're fucked.
I'm not.
You know.
I got my music, you know what I'm saying? But gentlemen, we've come to the end of the interview. It was a great interview, man, but it went kind of quick, you know what I'm saying? So please give them your social media so they know how to follow you and to get your music.
I'll jump in there. I'm www.ethemadassassin.com. And on every social media platform, it's Ethemadassassin, except for on Facebook, it's Ethemadassassin Bare Hands with a Z.
No doubt. I am Seven the Panther. Now, mind you, in some areas I had to spell it different or do something crazy to my name because it's long as fuck. But you can find me on Facebook, Instagram at Seven the Panther, or actually on Instagram it's Seven the Panther 253. On Twitter it's Seven the Panther, just because my name's too long. And But if you 7 the Panther, it'll still bring you through regardless. So what format you want, 7thepanther.com coming soon, hopefully by the 1st of next month. And of course, you can always find me on Bandcamp so you can copy me. So, ain't true.
All right. So with that being said, everybody, we've come to the end of the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast. First part, gentlemen, the second part is the rapid fire questions. Are y'all ready to play this game with me?
All right, let's go.
Okay. The rapid fire questions are not yes, no questions. These are questions that show your depth of knowledge of yourself, the God you serve, and the hip hop culture you represent. Are you ready?
I don't know. Let's go.
All right. This is rapid fire, y'all. We gotta move. All right. And plus it's 2 of y'all, so I gotta cut this down. All right.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go Sev, E, then E, Sev, and go back and forth. Ready?
All right.
Sev, what artist, song, or album perfectly represents you? That's another catalog, not your own.
Dead Prez, Let's Get Free.
All right, E, how about you?
Nas, The World Is Yours.
E, what is the perfect hip hop beat? Meaning if the person never had the beat, you would have had it, it would have been your first single.
Who Shot You?
Which one?
Oh, Big. Who Shot You?
Sev, what about you?
De La Soul, Rock Cocaine Flow.
Damn, that's hard. Okay. Next question. This is going to be a hard question. In the era of verses, we have people who either compete against each other with playlists of songs, right? If you had to pick a verses, what 2 artists would do a verses that fully encompasses you and your rap style?
It'll be Nas and Conway.
Okay, that's a nice one. How about you, E?
God damn. What be the quick answer? Shit. Fuck, man. Jesus. You got me on that one. I say maybe Red and Meth versus EPMD.
Oh, okay. Shout out to you. That's a deep one. Damn, you gotta stop me on that one. But then here we go. We go to the next question. Hip hop groups have died out and come back, and there have been super groups that were made in hip hop that did not create albums. One of the super groups in hip hop that actually got together but did not create an album was Nas, Scarface, and Ice Cube. If you can make a super group, who would your super group be, and who produces their album? That's you.
It's on you, yeah, no doubt. And give me time to think. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna rub the skin off my forehead with these questions, man. Shit. Okay. So I would put oh yeah, this is gonna be dope. I would put Ghostface. Shit, man, this is hard. Cause I wanted to be dope, you know what I'm saying? But I would probably put Ghostface with G-Rap. Ghostface, G-Rap.
That's crazy already.
I need one more. To balance this out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Ghostface, G-Rap, and just on throwing a loop in there right now, cause I just think he just no. Fuck that. No. Ghostface, G-Rap, and let's put Benny in there on some young boy shit.
Produces the album.
Alchemist.
Hell
Classic. Sev,
yeah.
Who's yours?
My super group and who produced it. I'm going with Ethemadassassin, OC from NC, 7 the Panther, and Pantha, produced by Knots.
Okay, that's a hell of a lineup. Killing
shit with that. You heard me, Carolina.
Okay. We got 3 more questions, and then we're gonna fade out on this one. All right.
All right.
Do y'all want a serious question or you want a throwaway question just to set it up?
Whichever way you go.
However you do it, yeah, I'm with it.
All right, let's have a throwaway question. How did you like being on Heritage Hip Hop, or would you recommend this to any other artist?
Man, I love and I would.
My
bad. I love your style of interviewing, and I would suggest any artist that want a real interview and not some cookie cutter shit, definitely rock with you.
What Seven said, I loved it, man. It's in depth. You know what you're talking about, and the fact that you bring history into it, and you're willing to school the people that you're talking to. I thought that was one of the dopest things of the interview. I would definitely recommend it to every artist who knows how to talk when on camera.
All right, that's dope. Second to last question, y'all. How about this? Ethemadassassin and Seven the Panther are our independent versions of Benny and Conway's Tyson versus Ali. But the delivery is more Sugar Shane or Floyd Mayweather. Because as one is defensive and defensive, the other one is flashy, it can hit you with a bar. If you could equate your style to a fighting style, what would it be?
And that was on you, bro. Go ahead.
I said, that's you.
Oh, okay. Fighting style. If I could compare my rhyme style to any fighting style, it would be Muay Thai probably. Yeah, the Muay Thai is extremely destructive, but it's also very flexible. So, yeah, and it doesn't stay still very long. So that's me. Yeah.
Hey, how about you?
Eagle Claw. It hits the joints and the pressure points.
Shout out to my brothers who knew they martial arts. Channel 5 movies stand up. Shaw Brothers was good. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you know what?
Just for the record to put it out there, because you know they say when you talk tough shit in your record, people like to try you when they see you. I'm a black belt. Don't fuck with me.
I'm not.
And I am a spectator, so I'll watch. You know what I'm saying? Gentlemen, I want to give you an ultimate compliment before I go to the last question. And my compliment is, we live in the age of superheroes, and MCs are superheroes for today. And while children like the X-Men, they like Marvel and DC and things like that, hearing y'all was very refreshing and reminded me of some of my favorite comic book characters. One of my favorite comic book characters is Icon from DC's Milestone Comics. He was the Black Superman, basically, but he was an intergalactic alien who was a lawyer who actually fell to Earth and was saved by like a slave like Harriet Tubman, and he grew up Black throughout every time period. And it took a single mother to be single mother turned superhero to teach him the Black experience. And by listening to your album, if people really pay attention, they understand the Black experience by hearing 2 men tell their story of grit, of honor, and overcoming. You know what I'm saying? There's one song on there, excuse me, let me go back to my notes, I apologize. There's one song on there that I wanted to highlight that reminded me of 2 of my favorite superheroes. Give me 1 second, I apologize, it's taking so long. So while I'm getting this, everybody remember to get the album, Carter and Newton, the Field Report. And the song is called A Better Day. And the thing that made Icon dope to me is not how hard he punched, and it wasn't that he fought aliens, it's that when the Earth was going to be destroyed, a superhero who did not have to punch or kick his way out of an issue, he used his mind. A lawyer that was a superhero that saved the Earth. The other superhero I really liked from Milestone was Wise Son. He's where they got Bishop from. Wise Son was a 5% superhero that whenever they hit him with energy, he was able to absorb it and give it back. That is what an MC is. He's able to take your words, but they give it back to you with structure, delivery, bars, and flow. So I want to give y'all respect because y'all are 2 of my superheroes when it comes to hip hop. I want to thank y'all for making the music that you make and the album that you produce. Y'all have made my listening pleasure to hip hop grow, and I thank you very much.
Brother, thank you.
Thank you. High compliment, yo.
That gave me something to look up. I got to see who this Wise Son guy is, an Icon.
Oh, you never heard of something? You never heard either one of them?
Nah,
Figure it out.
So
Milestone Comics. You can check it out. So we got to the last question, and this is the most important question of the first interview. So, gentlemen, you are always welcome to come back to Heritage Hip Hop. If you want to talk about your next album or anything, I have an open door policy. You don't have to be Billboard Top 100. All you have to do is have a story, make music that I like, and love the culture enough to have a conversation with me. You understand?
Right.
So the last question of the interview is this: 500 years from now in the Hip Hop Hall of Fame, when people look up Carter and Newton and they look up your individual careers, they're gonna be like, damn, who are these people? Because they are bugged out. I love those names, and damn, they could flow. And when they push the red button on the wall, your holograms are gonna come out. 500 years from now, people are gonna hear your music. Starting with Seven the Panther and ending with Ethemadassassin. The most important question is, what is the legacy you left behind that made the world better because you made hip hop music?
The legacy, at the end of the day, I would hope the legacy is that I cared enough about my people that I didn't just use my platform to make myself popular, that I actually used it to speak on what was going on in the ghetto, to speak what was going on with the underprivileged and the disenfranchised, to put their struggle on Front Street. Even when my life got better, even as my life has improved, I'm not homeless anymore. That doesn't mean I can't speak for the homeless. I'm not, starving anymore. That means I can't speak for people who are starving, because there are still times now where I'm right on the cusp of that. You feel me? So there's times when you can see that. So I would hope that the legacy would be he spoke for the people. He didn't waste his ball speaking on himself all the time.
How about you?
I would like for my legacy to be literary. I would like for what I wrote to be recognized as one of the great literary pens describing the current times. I want to be seen as one of those authors.
That's dope.
I want people to mention me in English classes and humanities classes and shit. You know what I mean? Like that kind of legacy. Because I feel like it's a lot of MCs who speak street and all of that. And no matter how much into your life you took that, I feel like a lot of artists sometimes just rely on the fact that they're real, and that's it. And the art itself isn't pushed.
Yo, that's dope.
I just want somebody who pushed the pen. That's it. Simple.
So, ladies and gentlemen, remember this when you listen to hip hop. There's only 3 gods that people admire and acknowledge every day. And as those 3 gods dictate how you spend your money. And the only things people will buy for the rest of their life is food, entertainment, and caskets. Hip hop can represent those 3 things, or you can elevate to be more. Kill your spiritual death with the hunger for more. Entertain yourself with knowledge that feeds your brain. Because just like he said, his written lyrics are the hieroglyphics that's going to teach the children of the future who we are in the past and how we made life better. Hip hop is not made only for you to bob your head. It's also made for you to elevate yourself by seeing yourself and others and pushing the plateau and the culture forward. God made you a light. Don't hide it. So stand strong, speak your truth, and rap your wisdom. Because at the end of the day, not only do we do it for us, we teach the babies with our words as well. This is Correct from Heritage Hip Hop with Seven the Panther, Ethemadassassin. Carter and Newton, the film report is out right now. Make sure you cop that and make sure you subscribe. Follow all platforms and remember this. We building the culture. The foundation is here. Stand on our shoulders and show the world how great you are. And with that being said, we say peace and we out.
Peace.